Welcome along to LCFC Radio and LCFC TV's Extra Time here. It's been a really busy couple of days for Leicester City. They've been over in Eindhoven, they've been up to Newcastle as well. We'll assess both of those results, one being very good, one being very disappointing. In the company of Steve Walsh and Matt Elliott on this Easter Monday, gents. So thanks for giving up your bank holidays. Have you had nice weekends, the both of you? Well, Matt, we'll get on to you. Walsh firstly. He's probably had a better one than that, I think.
Yeah, happy Easter, lads. Yeah, it's just been nice. The weather's been great. Still on a high from Thursday, obviously, with the way that things panned out in Europe. So, I think all of Leicestershire's been rejoicing, and I think, you look at this game yesterday, it seems quickly forgotten already for me. We're still on a high from that game, so I've eliminated this one from my memory. But no, it was a shame, what happened yesterday, and but just such a late sucker punch goal that was costly. But I suppose that dream of the top 7 is slipping away slightly. But we've got other things to think about, haven't we? Really.
Absolutely, yeah. He's erased the game from his memory. We will talk about it for a little bit of time here on Extra Time before we do move on. Finally, Matt, I know it's not been as good a weekend for you. Walsh has got a big smile on his face. I'm surprised you can even manage to smile at the moment.
Yeah, you get all this sympathy, don't you, from your mates. But no, I've just had a couple of days food poisoning in bed, basically, struggling. But the weekend, or the Easter break, started well, didn't it? Like I say, Thursday evening was spectacular, wasn't it? And everyone was bouncing all around the town. Everyone was looking to book up the tickets for Rome, and it's going to be a scramble for tickets, isn't it? And one occasion that promises to be. But unfortunately, it wasn't followed up by the result at Newcastle. Walsh says, conceding that late goal when it looked for all the world it was going to peter out to a draw, didn't it? It was pretty stale in the second half, but wasn't to be. But it's not calamitous, is it? That's not to make light of the game. Leicester wanted to go and win it. Of course they did, and they want to finish off the season as well as possible. But at the moment, strange as it seems, the emphasis is on the Europa Conference, isn't it? More than the Premier League. You didn't think you'd be saying that so long ago.
Yeah, I guess, Walsh, you can see from the teams that Brendan Rodgers has been playing at the moment in the Premier League, particularly when there's games in Europe coming up, or if ones have just been, he makes a lot of changes, doesn't he? And you can understand why he's doing that.
Yeah, do you know what? Over the last few weeks, I've bumped into him a couple of times, and I've had especially at the Vichai statue unveiling, and I had 10 minutes with him, and Matt spoke to him and tags, and what a great bloke he is. But he was just explaining, about the season and the way, it's been a struggle, rotating and getting things spot on, and what he's had to be up against, and I totally agree with that. But there's an opportunity here, and you look at the lineup yesterday. We've made 8 changes, I think it was it 8, 7 or 8 anyway, and you look on that bench and you see these players. So it's obviously geared that it's clear for everyone to see what the emphasis is on, and so it should be. I think that we want to finish as high as we can, like Matt said, and when you look at the favourable games we've got left out of is it 8 games left? So you look at them and think there's an accumulation of a lot of points available, but let's try and get this. Let's try and get into the final now and beat Roma and have something to look forward to for Leicester fans. And it's going to be, we're still in something at this stage in the season after what we've gone through. I think is a fantastic achievement, and there's an opportunity here and knowing Leicester, we can go and win this cup. There's no doubt in everybody's mind we can. We're capable. We've got a difficult game coming up in 2 legs in Roma. But we're more than capable of Leicester, and they've showed it already in Europe. It's still a lot to play for. Still a lot of points in the league. We won't dismiss that. We've got Everton coming up on Wednesday, and another game. So it's still an exciting month or two left of this season. I feel.
Yeah, Walsh sort of half touched on it, Matt, there about things that have happened this season. We've talked an awful lot, haven't we, about injuries and about everything that Brendan Rodgers has had to contend with. It just makes you think, if they'd not had those issues, where Leicester could be this season, this far in this competition, obviously pushing for one of those European places, up until maybe yesterday, until that result, you could have said Leicester were just about still in that hunt as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, well, we'll never know, will we? But, you know, who knows? They might have been competing in the latter stages of a different European competition if they had the full-strength squad throughout. But it's part and parcel of football, isn't it? Going through the campaign, you know, you have highs and lows, and you have bouts where things go against you. And you have to deal with that adversity when it comes along. But in this case with Leicester, it was, you know, the injuries were extreme, weren't they? And I think probably affected Leicester more than any other team I can remember. Never mind this season, really. It was, you know, almost catastrophic to some degree. But as best as possible, they dealt with it. There was some lean periods, weren't there? But I think people, maybe on a national level, people are quick to be critical of Leicester, saying, "Oh, they can't sustain it," and they're looking to fall away. And a couple of comments by Brendan Rodgers were turned in negatively. But I think people in and around the club, supporters, the likes of ourselves, directors, staff, etc., all realise what the problems have been this season. I think, you know, the same would be said of most clubs throughout the league. I mean, even to the extent of Liverpool, we saw what happened to them when they had multiple injury situation. So it can happen to the best of them. But I think, yeah, without doubt, it's a genuine reason for Leicester not quite firing on all cylinders consistently. They haven't found that regularity. Hopefully they'll find it coming into the end of the season. The signs are that they will. But and the signs are good going forward for next season as well.
What did you make of the game yesterday, Walsh? It started fairly well for Leicester's rotated players, didn't it?
Well, yeah, it started with an Amati booking, I think, straight away, didn't it? I don't know what, I think it was Amati, wasn't it, who did he get booked after about 3 minutes? And thought, oh no, you know, especially at Newcastle, because the atmosphere was absolutely unbelievable. It was like back to the old days. You know, I've played there many a time, and I still believe it's one of them stadiums, them old stadiums, that is an incredible atmosphere when they've got the home fans behind them. And it's a scary place to go to, you know. And so, first of all, you had to, you know, handle that atmosphere. Leicester are pretty good at that, you know. They're not intimidated by anything. They started well, and they had fair share of possession. There wasn't much created from both teams in the whole game, but still, you know, there were signs, and for a makeshift team, you would say, really, it looked good, and it was very well organised. The shape was there. They understood what they were doing. They had a well-worked corner that was a training ground move that got them into the lead. You know, for me, that was a terrific move when you play it back, and you know, the strong shot from Lookman and a flick from Perez, wasn't it? It was a brilliant goal, and you could see it had been executed on the training ground, you know, and looked at. So that was good to see.
Do you think it was planned exactly how it went for Perez to flick it back to Lookman in that position?
Well,
or maybe flicking it on more in an area?
I think he was trying to flick into an area. I think you're right, but he adjusted well, and it just looked. It obviously worked, you know, that out on that training ground. I don't know if it was exactly to the point of how he was going to flick it like that, but it was still well worked. It looked good. And it was a great start for us, and to get in front there was important in that game. You know, it was a scrambled goal for the equaliser, which really, when I look back at both the goals for Newcastle, you see that the second one took a deflection, and when your luck's not in, sometimes it ain't in, and that clearly wasn't. You know, for Leicester, the team's bad luck. And you know, you look at Schmeichel; he's just a scrambled mess, and it was a goal. When you slow it down, you could see he's not fouled anyone; he's not done anything wrong. That Guimaraes, is it? I think that's Bruno Guimaraes. So it was for him scoring his first goal at Newcastle, and he brought the stadium alive. You heard the noise levels go, and you know, I just look at that second goal. Did we need to press as high? Could we have took Willock out? Could Tielemans have took him out on that, you know, and took a booking? I don't know whether he'd already been booked. I don't think he had Tielemans. I'm not sure, but it might have been worth, you know, the booking, really, if you will. I don't like to say that, but it certainly they wouldn't have scored from it. So, you know, when I look back at this game, we were very unlucky, and you know, I think a point would have been a fair result. There's no doubt about it. I thought second half we played some good stuff, good possession, and well drilled, well organised, and yeah. So you can count yourselves a little bit unlucky with how the goals happened, but still, you know, like I say, I told you before, Dan, I was at a friend's barbecue, and I actually went in 2 minutes. I've done it again. I've done it twice this season. And as soon as then I heard this, oh no, what's going on? And then they've scored in a 95th minute. I said I'd never do it again, and I've done it. And I've jinxed us, so it's my fault.
Yeah, watch till the very end, Walsh. Watch till the very end. Do you think tiredness and fatigue, Matt, came into it at the end for Leicester? I know they'd made the changes, but as Walsh says, it was Youri Tielemans that was tracking. He's played an awful lot of football this season. He hasn't been rotated at all in recent weeks. He's playing every single game as well. Could that maybe have been a factor, do you think? Yeah,
possibly individually. I don't think collectively there's any excuse for that, because, you know, the changes that have been made, and these players, a lot of them, although, you know, in some respect you could say makeshift or you know, being pieced together, but a lot of these players have played together over a period of time because of the injuries that we've spoken about. They've all had a lot of game time, most of Jose Perez aside, possibly. But I thought Leicester were, you know, certainly in the second half, were relatively in control. And I think they almost sort of settled between themselves for the point, possibly might produce something out of nothing. I think they were just caught a little bit off guard, really. But you talk about fatigue, possibly, with Tielemans. I mean, I don't know, in my mind, he's not the most mobile of midfielders. I mean, he's a wonderful player, but athleticism is not his strength. Willock, certainly, in his case, it is. I mean, he was fresh, wouldn't he? Come on. Just went flying down that left-hand side of Newcastle, didn't he? And I think, you know, Tielemans possibly would have tried to take him out, as Walsh says, but didn't get close enough. Willock didn't give him the chance, basically. But yeah, there's a couple of things, isn't there? Martin could have perhaps closed down a little bit quicker, a little bit more purposefully. But, you know, he got the touch, didn't he? Willock's done well at the end of the day. Yeah, Dewsbury Hall, if you look at that, could be tracking Guimaraes, but he did for the majority of it. He realised he was the wrong side, got back on level terms, and just, I think Dewsbury Hall basically thought the ball's not coming across because it seemed to be crowded out. So he switched off a touch. All she says, when your luck's not there, it's not there. The ball sort of squirmed its way across, and Dewsbury was thinking, I should have seen it through now. I didn't think that was going to happen. Just little things like that. I mean, fair play to Guimaraes, fair play to Willock. From their point of view, it's an excellent goal. But, yeah, Leicester just got a bit caught on the hop, I think, as much as anything. I don't think... If there was any problem with fatigue with Tielemans, I don't think he'd be playing as regularly. For some reason, he can churn out performances, can't he? It hasn't been at his best this season. You know, I think probably he'd admit that. But still a quality performer. And Brendan Rodgers will see the stats, etc. And you know, if he was showing fatigue, he wouldn't be playing him as regularly as he does. So I don't think he really use that as any excuse. Will changes be made again for Wednesday, Walshy, do you think?
Yes, I think they possibly will. You clearly, like we've seen against Newcastle, he's going to be resting certain players. But don't forget also, you do need players going into games with a bit of rhythm, a bit of, I always seem to think that, in our day especially, that when you're playing each week, you get solid, everything just seems to fall into place, and you can get on a without disrupting and too many changes. I think that, but when you look at you've got players coming back from serious injuries, and Brendan must have been looking at game time, because this is how they do it now. He's looking at how much game time has he had. Yeah, what does he need now to be in tip-top condition? And the temptation for a manager, it must be, especially when you've got Fofana, you've got Vardy, you've got Johnny Evans on the sidelines before these games. He must have been tempted to, come on lads, we want to. But they won't take risks. They will never take risks with injuries, because that could cost the player. I don't care if Vardy doesn't play again this season, as long as he comes back, fully fit. And there's no point in doing this in a stage of the season that we are in now. As much as it is important, next season is going to be very vitally important. So there's things that a manager has to look at, and I think there will be a few changes. Yeah, I do. I think you'll see some of the ones who are on the bench come. The big players coming back in it again. Just to get some more minutes and get game time. It's up to Brendan whether he gives them an hour, and I'm guessing that we've got players good enough to do this and to rotate. And he said something before the Newcastle game. He must have thought 2 games ahead and for this competition as well. So he's looking at Everton and looking at Spurs. Is it Spurs after Everton?
Villa.
Yes, Villa, sorry. And then we go into the Roma home leg, don't we? I think so. He's obviously looked at these 3 games, and he knows what he's going to do. But each game, there'll be other players like we've looked at Tielemans. Maybe it's time just to give him a rest against Everton to try and get that fluidity back into him, because he's a key player. So it'll be interesting what Brendan does, but I do, to the question, I think there will be changes, and we know how strong we can play when we've got that 11 that I think every supporter and but all of us know is our tip-top team that on the day. So it's hard to get that through a season now for every team. You see all the top teams, Liverpool, City, they just can't do this all the time, and this is why it's so important to have a good squad and a big squad.
There'll be fans of Burnley, Matt, I think, watching the game intently on Wednesday evening, obviously hoping that Leicester can get a result against Everton. For Everton, obviously, they have everything to fight for, don't they, heading into this game? And you'd expect the home crowd to be right behind them.
Well, yeah, they have had for a while, though, haven't they? And they've been able to produce results and all performances the majority of the time. Strange sequence of events, really, isn't it, at Everton? The managerial changes that they've had, the supposed quality of managers that they've had at their disposal, and no one can seem to find the solution there. And I don't know, there's a whole catalogue of errors have been made, haven't they, along the way? Poor recruitment, etc. And plugging holes everywhere, really, trying to find an answer, really. And I think Lampard is probably scratching his head a little bit up there on Merseyside. They're wondering quite how to resolve things. But they're certainly in a very precarious situation, aren't they? You say about Burnley fans, that'd be Burnley missed opportunity for them probably at the weekend. Taking the lead, missing a penalty, then conceding. Happy to get the draw. But it's another point towards Everton. I think, what is it? Are they 1 point behind, is it? With 3 points behind, sorry, but with extra game, isn't it? So this is like probably the game in hand, is it? I don't know if Burnley are playing midweek. But Everton, I don't know. Not only Frank Lampard scratches his head, me as well, I suppose. 40,000 Evertonians. But I think those Walsh says there'll be changes. I think Leicester will have a bit of a go up there. I don't think, for a number of reasons, Leicester will just go and make the numbers up. I think they'll put out a very strong team. Again, agree with Walsh in terms of his selection will be influenced by the Villa game, stroke the first tie against Roma. So they'll probably give a stronger lineup against Everton, perhaps a bit of mix and match against Villa, and then all for the big game in the Europa Conference. But you never quite know how games are going to go against Everton, because they've got the capabilities, haven't they? They've got certainly individual players that can perform on any given night, but they're very erratic individually. And that's also reflected in their collective performance as well. So the crowd will surely be up for it. That's one guarantee. But I fancy Leicester to go there and get something, although it's going to be... they'll have to have the right mental approach, though, as is always the case, but in particular because they say it's going to be a red-hot atmosphere.
Yeah, they've obviously got quality players, Walsh, which is probably another reason why it is so surprising where they find themselves in the table this season.
Yeah, I mean, you can clearly see that they have lost all confidence. You know, things go wrong very quickly with Everton. I think if Leicester can get, this first goal in the first, and the first half an hour of that game is so important. I think that Everton fans are going to turn against the team and the manager soon, because this has got critical. They are in a position where, I was surprised that at the Dele Alli signing. I looked at Demore Gray, and every Leicester fan thinks that we should have kept him. But I know there's reasons as footballers why he's not been kept, and he's not consistent enough. Is Demore Gray? Listen, he's had a good season by all accounts. When he first comes, he tends to do that a lot. When he first goes to a club, in them first few months, he's electric, he's brilliant, but it's after that and that consistency that you don't get from a player like him, and that's the reason why he left Leicester City, because they know they've tried and tested him, and he's not stepped up to the mark when it's been needed. But saying that, when you're down there, you need players who have got a bit of guile and a bit of something about them and a bit of courage. And I don't see that in some of the players. Richarlison, he can be erratic and his temperament changes. You can see the frustrations they've got. Calvert-Lewin he's not come back into, he's been out for a while and he's been questioned a lot that he's not playing well. But like Matt said, at home with their fans, if they do get a chance early on or in that first half an hour, they get on top, the crowd will be with them all the way. There's no doubt. So it's up to Leicester that they silence that, and then they turn the screw on Everton, because they're in a position for a reason, and they don't look like they're going to get out of it. But one win and they've got a game in hand on other teams, so they should be getting out of this trouble. But when you're down there, it's a lot different. It's hard to get out of, and so certain players feel the pressure more than others, and that's when you need leaders and top experienced players to help the others get through it. And it doesn't seem like they've got that.
Word on Roma, Walshy. Obviously, that's the semi-final of the conference. So
well,
you've already been
you know what? As soon as we got through, I had all my mates say, I'm going to Roma. They're all booking all everyone was booking flights and wondering how they're going to get there. Am I going? Am I not? And it's terrific that Leicester love it when you're in Europe, and we have been for the last few seasons, haven't we? And again, it's you kind of look at the Community Shield, the FA Cup, and are we capable? Of course we are, and but we've got 3 games hopefully left in that competition. With beating Roma if we can, and then you've got Feyenoord, Marseille. It's going to be an interesting final, and so look, it's great times for Leicester fans at the minute, and our season's not over by any means. So it's still an exciting, enthralling end to the season. Roma are going to be tough, especially again in a volatile place to go. So that's important that we deal with that And if we've got these players, and you know, Fofana, we've got, hopefully we know that he's coming back to his best already. He's fitted straight back in. Johnny Evans, you know, just his presence is great. I've just got a small feeling that Jamie Vardy's going to pop out somewhere and surprise us all. But that's, you know, me dreaming of him. But maybe they're protecting him now for that. I don't know. But listen, whatever we do, we're capable, and it's going to be very interesting over the next few weeks.
When you look at Roma, Matt, obviously fifth in Serie A, they don't look as if they're going to really close down that gap into fourth, but they've got their big city rivals, Lazio, just behind them. So the league form's very, very important for them, which could maybe play a part and be a factor in this tie.
In terms of selections, you mean? Yeah, possibly.
And obviously, the fact that they won't potentially be able to do as much rotation as Leicester can.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's strange, isn't it? It's become a factor. It's sort of finding that balance really is a big part of a manager stroke coach's job these days. And I think that Brendan Rodgers knows that more than anyone, the way he's had to deal with things this campaign. But no one more experienced than certain Mr. Mourinho is there, I suppose, at dealing with that scenario. But you're right. Yeah, and also, I think Leicester can take confidence from the fact that how well they did, particularly in the home leg against, well, not leg as much, home game against Napoli. You know, Napoli going pretty well in Serie A, and I thought, yeah, Leicester went sort of toe to toe against them, didn't they? And I thought that was probably their best performance in Europe this season, albeit only a draw. You know, but conceding 2 late goals. But I thought that was a real spirited performance. You know, some good goals and real energetic display against a quality team. You know, Leicester went up against Napoli, came up short eventually, yeah, but only by a very slim margin. You know, over the course of the 2 games, should we say, within the league process. So I think that will give them confidence to go up against Roma. You know, lots been made of how good Rennes were, and also PSV. You know, for some reason, the foreign opposition gets trumped up a little bit, I think. You know, Rennes, very capable side. So are Leicester. You know, Leicester are sort of deemed European novices, which to a degree is probably true, but they've shown that they were able to deal with both those sides. Why not Roma? It's going to be a different proposition, don't get me wrong. You know, you've got genuine experience in the manager and obviously a number of the players, the atmosphere, etc. Just the whole thing about going to Rome, isn't it? It's a huge occasion, even for these players who are pretty experienced, some of them, in international European football. It's going to be a huge occasion for them. But, you know, as I always say, these sort of scenarios bring out the best in people, or certainly they should do. And I think Leicester have got enough players who've got enough about them to not be reserved when they go into this tie. You know,
I don't think, Matt, that we've hit the levels either yet in this competition that we're capable of. I think we've got a few more gears to hit, really. You know, yet we've progressed to this stage now, and I still don't think we've played our best football in this competition yet. So, you know, let's see what happens. But I think we've got a lot more to give.
Yeah, fingers crossed things go well. Of course, you can follow these remaining few months here of Leicester's season right here on LCFC TV and LCFC Radio. We'll have you covered for every single game. Right, before the end of extra time, we always get our guests to pick one game that caught their eye at the weekend. It could be from the Premier League, it could be from one of the FA Cup semi-finals. Matt, I know you've probably not had much chance to watch any football this weekend.
I haven't been viewing too much, in all honesty, Bates. You know, I've been tucked up in bed. Haven't eaten for 2 days. It's about time I lost a bit of weight, isn't it? But anyway, obviously I've been keeping abreast of things. I mean, for me, I haven't seen the game. I haven't actually even seen the goals. But Ronaldo, yet another hat-trick for Man United. Ridiculous. All the criticism he gets and Man United in general at the moment, and most of it justified, but he's just an unbelievable performer, isn't he? I mean, he got a hat-trick not so long ago, and then again at the weekend. Without him, they really would be in a spot of bother, wouldn't they, really? They've been out the equation by now, by some distance, but he's been absolutely crucial for them. But to keep performing like he does, incredible, I think.
Walshy, what about you? Which game?
Yeah, it's got to be the semi-final, the Liverpool and Man City game for me. You know, you look at Ronaldo first of all. I mean, getting a hat trick is incredible. But yeah, this game, just two teams clearly better than everybody else in this league by a country mile, going toe to toe, and Klopp is certainly showing some steel now, and it's a terrific battle between them two teams on all fronts, from league to Champions League. So it's fascinating to watch and look at two top class teams, you know, playing such a standard of football. It's incredible, and you know, as you see, Sadio Mane gets a couple of goals, Canate, and Man City got a bit of a consolation goal and nearly nicked something in the end, but it's just a fascinating battle from every front, and it's still going. It's going to go right to the wire in the league, the Champions League. So it's terrific. You've got two British clubs of this quality and standard that seem to be better than anybody in the world at the minute.
Yeah, that's Pep against Klopp. Now we're going to do Walsh against Elliott in our football jenga at the end of the show. Walsh, you're playing a depleted Matt, so I think you've got a chance here.
But he still can pull it out of the fire, but go on then.
So you remember how this works, Walsh. You each taking in turns to give me an answer on a theme. If it's wrong or if you repeat one, then you're out. Obviously, it's the last man standing. Right, any player that was in either of the two playing squads at the weekend, so the game between Leicester and Newcastle, any player that either started or was on the bench in that game. Walshy, you can kick us, please.
In the squad, Amarte.
Well, it's a good job you weren't doing goal scorers across the Premier League, mate. See, I'd have had to say Ronaldo 3 times, I think. But, who did you say, Walshy?
Oh, well, I've gone Amarte, mate. I've gone for a Leicester player, if that's all right.
This might be dragged out a little bit, this one, so aren't you?
Yeah.
Burn. Dan Burn, is it Dan Burn? Dan Burn, sorry.
Oh, is that his first name?
Dan Burn, is it?
Yeah.
Dan Burn.
Dan Burn, we've got it, well, we've got it.
That's what I meant, yeah? You know.
Luke Thomas.
You're picking Leicester ones. Should I pick Newcastle ones then?
You can do whatever you want, Walshy.
This is a bit easy for us, matey.
Joe Linton.
Yeah.
James Justin.
Soyuncu.
Oh.
Well, I'll change your mind now because you might not know any Newcastle ones.
Yeah.
Soyuncu.
Matt said it already, Walshy.
Oh! Has he? Oh, I wasn't even thinking there, mate. Oh, does that count?
What do you reckon, Matt? Should we let him off?
I can change that, sure.
Come on, mate.
Go on, Walshy, change it.
Flipping egg. James Justin.
I knew he's going to say that.
What's up with you? You're going through from the back, aren't you? Go on then.
Matt said that one as well.
Oh, what am I thinking about? Come on, give me another one. Tielemans. I can go anywhere now.
Yeah, Tielemans.
One chance, that's it.
Right.
You've had 2 chances, mate. That's
Well,
it, it's all over.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, no.
Yeah, you got one more chance, Walshy. You make one more error and that's...
Go on then.
Oh, dear. Oh, I've got to gather my thoughts, mate.
Come on.
Dewsbury Hall.
I can go through loads. I just wasn't concentrating on your ones you were picking, sorry. Daka.
Mendy.
Well done. Barnes.
Perez.
Lookman. He played well, by the way, Lookman.
Madison.
Yeah, well done. Albrighton.
I didn't see the bench, you know. St. Maximin.
Iheanacho.
Target.
It was Albrighton. Albrighton was on the bench, wasn't he? Albrighton.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore.
Why, have you done him again? Have you done Albrighton?
No, you said Albrighton.
You've lost me in this. Go on.
You've said Albrighton already, Walshy.
Oh, God's sake, what am I doing?
Oh, well, right, well, that's it. 3
You
strikes.
can't give me
out.
any more chances than
Yeah.
that. Sorry, you deserve it, man. I've just lost the plot at the minute.
Yeah. Oh dear, I'm not going to read out the ones you missed. They made the Newcastle players anyway. Castagna, you could have had Chaldry, Johnny Evans.
Johnny Evans.
On the bench, Ricardo, Schmeichel, you missed as well.
I wanted Matt to
I was
feel
holding
better,
that
so
back.
that's why I did that. I did it purposely just to make him feel better.
Make
and
it
cheer him
feel
up.
better, to give him a laugh. Yeah,
Certainly
well,
made me feel better, well.
yeah. Well, I hope it's put a smile on Leicester fans' faces as well this Easter weekend. Thank you very much to both of you for giving up your bank holiday Monday for us for extra time. I hope you've enjoyed it. And Matt, look, you are smiling. You can at least.
I've been smiling for a while yet.
Right, cheers, guys. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Cheers, everyone.
See you later, well.
See you, Matt.